Hello buddy, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War, Warhammer 2, Warden and the Paunch multiplayer. This time around we are going to be playing as the forces of the noble High Elves against the rampaging Norskens led by Dahvplays on the map, the Eastern Isles. Now if you have not checked out Dahv's channel already, certainly be sure to do so. I will be leaving a link down to his channel in the comment below, as well as the description of this video. He makes lots of great multiplayer content for this game as well, and if you have not checked him out already, certainly do so. Now for this video here, we're going to be rocking some High Elf militia builds, because one character that's really been overlooked amidst all this hullabaloo about OP Imric and Techless getting a ridiculous new mount, the Arcane Phoenix, of course. This fine young beauty here, this elegant elven mage, has been forgotten. And honestly, this is probably the lord I was most hyped to see, the elven Archmage. I really was looking forward to getting all the lords of the High Elves, and I think it's a great way for them to sort of flesh out or overcome some of their weaknesses. I was really hyped to see how it would play out. I was really excited to try some stuff out. The Archmage of Metal, I think, has some great synergy with these sort of budget, super wide High Elf builds, and so that's what I wanted to try here. Mounted like this on a horse with only a handful of spells, she costs about 1200 gold. You get the Book of Hoeth, as well as Great Arcane Conduit for the Winds of Magic, Final Transmutation to punish blob play, and Plague of Rust to undo armor on mammoths, Fimir, chariots, that sort of thing, and allow this mob of Lothan Seaguard and archers to overwhelm them with sheer arrow fire. Besides that, it's not a combatant, it's not a fighty lord, it is just there for the cheap budget spells, and I'm really excited to see how the Archmage would perform. That's what I was really looking forward to here. Besides that, well, the front line is pretty cheap, though not as cheap as one might expect. For hidden here among these spears, well, we've got the Silvern Guard, the new, unique, gorgeous looking High Elf spears. These guys are a mid-tier spear unit. They've got expert charge defense, they do have significant armor, a magic resist, which can be good against Norsca and Fimir, of course, and they can really trade upwards into much of the Norsken roster. So it's really, these guys acting as the anchor here, 2 units of them, will hopefully be able to deflect much of Dahv's advance. So spears, normal variant on the flanks here, just anchoring things. Obviously, oh sorry, not that, but the Silvern Guard obviously are too expensive to field en masse. 4 units of Lothan Seaguard making up the secondary line here, providing their additional firepower as well, and then 4 units of archers behind that. So staggered layered defense here. We do have some Illyrian Reavers hidden in the trees here. I was hoping to get a jump on some of Dahv's troops, maybe ambush them a little bit. And then we do have some Silver Elves, one with shields, one without. A very cheap and cheerful High Elf build, trying to maximize our width. Perhaps we could have separated even a little more here. Make it difficult for Dahv to compromise everything at once, and focusing on his elite units one by one. Now for Dahvplays, he has decided to bring a pretty conventional, I think, Norsken composition. Wulfric the Wanderer is rocking a mammoth here. He's coming in astride the mighty warbeast. Hunter of Champions, of course, Fight or Die, and Seafang all coming into play here. Just absolute beastly buffs. And are going to make him quite the potent force. And Seafang is nasty for versus High Elf archers. It can really melt Lothan Seaguard or archers quite nicely. Alongside him, there is a second War Mammoth. Now, the War Mammoth is actually now costs the same as the War Shrine, and the War Shrine has gotten some buffs for the Norskens, so I think that might actually become the more powerful option here, but the War Mammoth is still a very potent force. Besides that, we do have a Fimir Balefin of Shadows coming in with Penumbral Pendulum and Enfeebling Foe, as well as From the Mists for that extra missile resist, and we do have Arcane Conduit, of course, and Evasion, helps him survive a bit better. 37% missile resist, no sneezing matter. I can definitely do some good work avoiding some arrow fire there. Marauders make up the front line, ready to sort of soak up some missile pressure. We do have the Beasts of Tashnar as well as some Frost Wolves on the flank for backline harass and counter to cavalry. Marauder Ice Wolf Chariots as a bit of bait and something to plow through the front line and disrupt. 2 Marauder Berserkers to apply some consistent pressure, and 3 Marauder Horsemen here out on the flank. Unfortunately, they're going to get zoned away there by the Lothan Seaguard, though not taking any damage since Dahv is quick on the draw and goes back. Now, the lines here closing slowly. I don't really have to advance. I do pull forward a tiny bit looking to get some shots on Dahv there, but he does unfortunately spawn my Reavers here. Going to pop a few javelins at him. So we're going to pull back because I probably wasn't going to be able to get the charge here. And we're going to withdraw with our Silver Helms and try to avoid getting engaged. Over here, Dahv is going to commit the Marauder Ice Wolves, diving into my Silver Iron Guard, who absorb the charge fairly well. We do hit him with a Plague of Rust, down to 25 armor. These Ice Wolf puppies are not having a good day, losing thousands of HP very, very quickly, and getting sent fleeing for the hills. Down to about 2600 HP, so definitely not what they want in life. Dahv doing some crazy jukes there, trying to evade much of the fire, and kind of succeeding, mitigating a good chunk of fire there, as you can see. In the meantime, the mammoths are just barreling through, and that is definitely a bit of a problem. So we're going to shift fire out to the Berserkers, looking to break up those key units, looking to remove them from play. Now, Seafang is going to go down here. I wasn't paying attention, so the Lawful Seeker here gets scythed through. But we do see Wolfric coming in. We're going to pop all our fire onto him, or most of our fire onto him, and in come the Illyrian Reavers, looking to get an interception. Use their mass to slow Wolfric down. That's really all that matters to me. He's losing thousands of HP, down to a mere 7,300 and dropping quickly. We're just doing our best to disrupt him. In the back here, we did catch the Marauder Horsemen, forcing them back. The pendulum scythes through our ranks. But Wolfric suffering the attention of a bajillion angry archers. The Berserkers break upon the wall of Silver Guard here, as continued hail pours in on Wolfric, who's now down to about half HP, actually less, as the final transmutation comes raining down, annihilating the Beast of Tashnar, annihilating Wolfric, and he is really, really suffering. Obviously, he has a lot of HP, but final transmutation does a lot of damage, and this is just very tough for him to deal with. Norsken Ice Wolves here overcome by cavalry, two units of Illyrian Reavers and Silver Helms overwhelming them. This mammoth over here is still doing its very best, getting bogged down by the Reavers. I was just looking to stall out here. Lothar and Seaguard able to keep firing, but right now they seem to be bogged down or not shooting, which is a big misplay on my part here, not using them on the mammoth. They're popping some shots into the Berserkers, which is a big waste of time. The Wolfric here forced back, and although Dahv has compromised my backline, he has removed some archers from play, routing them here, routing some Reavers. The heart of our formation has survived here. We still have several archers, Lothar and Seaguard, an entire unit of Resurrepiers that I completely forgot about, that I really should have pivoted over this way. Silver Helms rallying, charging back into the fray, fearless and dedicated, diving in against the Marauder Champions here, the Marauder Chariots here, forcing them fleeing, scurrying for the hills. The Marauders are going to crack here. We're actually able to drag the Fimir Battlefiend down here, and the Fimir Battlefiend does magic damage. It's actually really bad against the Guard. Of course, you have anti-large and resistance to magic. Dahv does pop a Seafang here. We're just going to bust through some of these Seaguard, pops a few models off him. But we're going to weather the fire and continue unloading on the poor mammoth here. Is backed by Fight or Die, sticking around in this fight, but suffering that fire. 70 armor is not that much, especially as it's now dropping. Very tired stats. Marauder Horsemen getting caught out by my cavalry, forced to flee. The mammoth now getting hit by Plague of Rust, down to 10 armor, which is practically irrelevant. Getting shot in the posterior by that angry Elven Bowfire. And Dahv is really not liking this situation. He's pulling back, trying to get out of the range of these annoying little barb shafts. And suffering for it. So Wolfric here takes point, but in turn he's going to start suffering the ire of 100 angry bowmen. He's going to start suffering here. He's only got 2,000 HP left. It's not really enough. We do still have a bit of cavalry left over to block. There are some Marauders out here on the flanks, but at this stage of the game it's just very difficult to really compromise things. Unfortunately, a bit of a mistake here, send my Spearmen out here. But we were able to escort the Marauder Ice Wolves off the map. Wolfric launching the last courageous charge here, down to 1,100 HP and tanking rapidly as he's just overcome by fire. Cavalry charging in. Mammoth is getting overwhelmed, panics, flees. Wolfric is thrown out of, and Mammoth topples. His friend over here, overcome with missile pressure, is going to waver, break, and flee. And that is going to be all she wrote for the Norskens as they are forced to retreat from the field. And a Pyrrhic victory for the High Elves. Now, this sort of wide build was already, I think, the traditional counter to Norsca for High Elves, in what is usually seen as a difficult matchup. But I think with the help of Lord Metal here, we were able to do a lot better than you usually would. Plague of Rust gave me a huge threat against the Mammoths, as well as the Marauder Ice Wolves, and gave me some additional cheap armor countering, essentially. Now, I think that there are a few ways you could hone this build. You could try to get in some You could try to get in some lions. You could try to squeeze in perhaps a unit of Sisters of Avalorn, or tweak around the build a little bit. Just try to get a little normal AP just so you have some contingency. But with Plague of Rust, Norsca doesn't have too much armor to deal with. So as long as you can focus out those key armor targets, you can really get a lot of value. And it showed in this game where we were able to wreck that chariot. We were then able to overwhelm the lightly armored berserkers, and then mop up the mammoths and wolfric, and we were just able to sort of stagger out our fire and devastate one unit after another. Archers here gaining 2 chevrons, which is just insane. Illyrian Reavers gaining multiple chevrons, Silver Helms gaining chevrons, Silver and Guard gaining chevrons, just all these units performing well. Silver and Guard just holding like absolute champs, dragging the Bale Fiend into the muck. For Dahv, mammoths, of course, just absolute beasts, running amok. They're still very hard to stop. Even with this much archery fire, they still are very beefy. But and I didn't use my first Plague of Rust on the mammoths, so that is something worth keeping in mind. I think had I been a little smarter, I would have debuffed Wolfrake or the normal mammoth and made them easier for my archers to pincushion. But I instead got overzealous and used it on the Ice Wolf Chariot. But I do think it's going to be a bit difficult for Norsca to overcome this sort of play, this super wide high elf play, which you can now pull off with Lord of Metal. So definitely excited to see the potential new combos that are going to be available to the high elves thanks to the archmages, or even just normal mages. And I think these sorts of wide builds are definitely going to be more enabled now. But be sure to let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is there's some potential in this? Do you think this will ultimately sort of fall off? How do you feel about the new additions to the high elf roster? Be sure to let me know down in the comments below. If you would like to see more content, certainly subscribe. Certainly check out Dahv's channel. He's got some amazing multiplayer gameplay as well as great sort of tier lists and that sort of thing. So certainly check him out. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye for now.